Okay, well, thank you very much. Kumusta tayo po? Today, it's, June 13 na. And it's Saturday. Welcome kayo po dito sa programa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Kumusta ang mga kababayan ko dito sa Malaysia? Particularly dito po sa Sabah and very specific dito po sa Kota Kinabalu. I hope everything is running smoothly sa mga buhay natin. Ang mga kababayan, kapatid at kaibigan ko po dito sa Malaysia. No? And of course, wag natin kalimutan to also greet ang mga overseas Filipino workers, kagaya namin dito sa Malaysia, sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo. Kumusta kayo? Kung sa malayo pa, we say salamat pagi, salamat patang, and salamat malam. Hope everything is running smoothly sa buhay ninyo dyan po. And of course, wag din natin kalimutan ang mga kaibigan, kapatid, at kababayan natin dyan po mismo sa bayan natin, of which we say, we love the Philippines. Kumusta kayo? Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. And welcome kayo dito sa programa Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Of which dito po sa programa natin, you'll be able to get some news, no? Mga hot issue. Maybe it might not be the breaking news of the day, but at least fresh pa rin because I regularly monitor ang mga notisya o news dyan po sa Pilipinas. Especially tungkol ang mga hot issues dyan sa politika, which is we are facing a lot of problems ngayon sa Pilipinas. Ang impeachment ni Vice President Inday Sara Duterte, kumusta na? Ang problema dyan po sa Senado, na may dalawang Senate President tayo. Isa si Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano, and the other one is Senate President pro tempore, si Sherwin Gatchalian. Yon ang problema natin ngayon, no? May crisis tayo sa Senado. And of course, ang economic situation natin sa Pilipinas, alam na ninyo na mahirap talaga ang buhay dyan po sa Pilipinas dahil itong conflict dyan sa Middle East. In fact, yesterday, yesterday, ang latest news that we received yesterday tungkol sa Middle East conflict is that na-close na naman po ang Iran, ang Hormuz Strait dyan po sa kanila. And because of that closure, ibig sabihin po, gano'n na naman po ang presyo ng gasolina. Magtaas na naman ang presyo ng gasolina, ng fuel natin dyan po sa Pilipinas because Philippines is totally dependent sa fuel sa mga operations natin sa bayan. Di ba? And yun na po, yun ang problema. And of course, security aspect dyan po sa Pilipinas. Now, I am closely monitoring for ang mga overseas Filipino workers sa iba-ibang parte ng mundo po. You will be updated if you support itong channel natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. Okay, let's proceed with our topic for today. And ito po, there is a question that I would like to ask each and every one of us dito po sa programa natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. The question is, do you believe na ang executive branch natin sa Pilipinas has something to do sa operation ng legislative branch natin sa Pilipinas? You know, we have three branches sa gobyerno po because we are a democratic form of government. One is the executive. The other one is the legislative, which is divided into two. One is the lower house, ang House of Representatives, and the other one is the upper chamber or upper chamber po, which is the Senate. And then we have the judiciary. So tatlo yung po, no? Co-equal bodies yun po. Co-equal bodies, ibig sabihin po, hindi pwede mag-dictate ang executive sa legislative. Ang legislative cannot also dictate sa judiciary, and vice versa yun po, and vice versa. Now, the question is, do you believe that the executive is not interfering or secretly playing a game dyan po sa Senado? Kontrolado ba ang executive sa mga senador natin, especially ang administration ng Senado ngayon? or what? Kayo na bahala po. Kayo na bahala to think. But for me, if you ask me personally and my own opinion po, with things are moving in the Philippines ngayon, especially itong Senate crisis natin dyan po sa Pilipinas ngayon. No? Correct me if I'm wrong. And I hope I'm wrong. The way how I look at the situation ngayon sa Pilipinas po, ang executive branch natin, spearheaded by President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., or also known to many as a BBM, I look at the situation na may control siya po sa mga Senado who is aligned sa administration ng Marcos ngayon. Kaya nga, this is the problem that we are facing now sa Senado. Sa Senado po. Divided. Mayroon tayong Cayetano block and mayroon tayong Gatchalian block. This is really a problem po, a crisis sa atin. Some people are saying we are facing now a political crisis. And for me, I believe we are facing, hindi na siguro that serious a political crisis, but we are facing a Senate crisis. We are facing a Senate crisis, because divided ang Senado natin ngayon. Why divided? Because we have two. One is claiming is the rightful Senate, rightful elected Senate President, si Alan Peter Cayetano. The other one is claiming also that he was elected by 12 senators. 12 senators na po, early this week. He was elected, and now he is the legally declared Senate President pro tempore or acting Senate President dyan po sa Senado. In fact, yesterday, narinig natin during the official Independence Day ceremony, no less than President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., when he greeted ang mga guests nila dyan po sa ceremonial or sa Independence Day program, he acknowledged and recognized Senator Sherwin Gatchalian as the elected pro tempore and acting Senate President. Ngayon po, si Sherwin Gatchalian. But if you look at the Constitution, he can only be, the Senate President can only be elected with 13 votes. 13 votes po because we have now a total of 24 senators. Without that magic 13, in other words po, hindi or illegal ang position ngayon ni Sherwin Gatchalian. And that is the reason now we are facing a crisis. There's only two things or three things lang po para sa akin. To solve this controversy o problem ngayon sa Senado. One is, ang grupo ni Sherwin Gatchalian should try to convince another senator from the group of Cayetano to join them so that they will have the number 13. Number 13 po. Kung mayroon na silang number 13 po, 13 senators, tapos na ang laban natin. Tapos na ang problema natin. For as long as you don't have the 13, I don't think so. Si Senator Cayetano or SP Cayetano is willing to step down. Right? In fact, sabi ni Alan Peter Cayetano na as long as you have the 13, I will be more than willing to gracefully step down as the Senate President. The other solution is, sa palagay ko po, if they are going to ask the help of the Supreme Court po, then let the Supreme Court po make the decision whether it is constitutionally elected si Gatchalian or not. Yun lang po. Interference of the Supreme Court. But the way how I look at it, ang Supreme Court po will not just come in and interfere sa operation ng Senado po because they are co-equal bodies. No? And this is a internal or domestic problem sa Senado. So, yun po ang problema. No? And the third solution maybe is kung magsalita na ang mga Filipino. Let the Filipino decide kung sino talaga ang legally elected or sino talaga dapat mag-lead ang Senado ngayon. Si Gatchalian ba or si Cayetano? So, yun ang problema natin ngayon sa Pilipinas. But anyway, I will continue to monitor ang situation and I will make sure that you will be properly informed should there be any developments. In the meantime po, let me share with you itong video clip posted by Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano, wherein he exposed na may secret deal dyan po sa Senado. Let's watch this video clip and kayo na bahala. It's up to you to make your own opinion. Listen to the video clips and at the end of the day, kayo po will be the judges to judge na totoo ba everything that Cayetano is saying sa Facebook posting na po or hindi. Kayo na bahala. So, let's watch and listen to this video clip of Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano. Nandito po. Let's watch and listen to this. And nandito po. Hold on. Medyo mahaba but it's worthwhile watching itong video. Please watch this video.
Sinasabi, nakipagsabwatan si Senator Lacson sa administrasyon para iporma laban kay Jinggoy, kay Cheese, kay Joel, etc. Senator Coco and Senator Tito said independent
Hold on, sandali po. We'll make it from the very beginning. From the very beginning po. Hold on, Okay? Nandito. I'm sorry, my love. Okay? Nandito po. Alright? Okay, nandito.
Basically, ang sinasabi, nakipagsabwatan si Senator Lacson sa administrasyon para iporma laban kay Jinggoy, kay Cheese, kay Joel, etc. Senator Coco and Senator Tito said independent Senate kailangan walang impluensya ang Malacanang, etc. So the rest is history, but that's my first point, no? Tinanggihan ko yon on the matter of principle, hindi ko nakuha. Fast forward 2025, nung nanalo na po sila Senator Lacson, Senator Tito, Senator Bam, Senator Kiko, etc. Kinontak ako ng isang malapit sa Pangulo, etc. At sinabi kung hindi matatanggal si Cheese, ako na lang. No, walang basbas ng Malacanang to, pero ang kausap sila Senator Tito, etc. And it happened a second time nung pinag-uusapan namin yung tungkol sa commission on appointments. Sinabi sa akin ni Senator Loren yun, na alam mo naman kung anong offer. Sabi ko, guys, para kung kapatid na si Cheese, marami na rin kaming beses na magkalaban, but we promise each other to pray together, consult each other, move forward each other. So, naintindihan ko karamdaman niyo, pero hindi ko pwedeng kunin sa kanya. I can't do that, no? So, tinanggihan ko ulit. Okay. February 2026, yung ibang mga kasamahan ko, sinabi na, ginamit na yung Blue Ribbon, may mga pinagtakpan sa majority nila, no? May mga pinakita sa akin, whether ito yung basta saka ko na ilalabas yung mga ebidensya, but basically ang sinasabi, nakipagsabwatan si Senator Lacson sa administrasyon para iporma laban kay Jinggoy, kay Cheese, kay Joel, etc. regardless kung may zero truth, partial truth, or whatever. And then may mga pinagtakpan, no? From masterminds lower. And then iba-ibang grupo yun, ha? Wala pa yung, wala pa atang 18 nun yung Marines. So, ang inudyukan namin nun ay si Senator Loren. So again, wala naman nagsabing dapat ako, binigay ko sa kanya. Tapos nag-usap kami, sabi niya, Alan, sana tayong dalawa. No? But kaming dalawa, meaning mag-sharing din kami. So, when we were going to execute, dahil may 14 na kami, biglang may mga tumawag at doon po nag-umpisa. Doon ko nalaman na negotiable pala yung mga kaso nila. Kasi tinawagan na yung mga may kaso, huwag nyo lang iboto si Loren, bawiin nyo, hindi na kayo kakasuhan. At yung isa doon, na-witness ko mismo dahil sa harap ko tinawagan yung isang high official at narinig ko yung pinag-usapan. So, we stopped there kasi nga may isa naman, wala naman siyang kaso, yung kwento ko sa inyo. Pero nagulat ako, takot na takot, no? And isang dahilan takot, minsan medyo napitik din siya na nakapanggitin ang pangalan niya. Although he swears, wala naman siya. At doon ko nga nakita na grabe ang liway ni Senator Lacson na kasi may sinabi si Senator Lacson doon na parang hindi, kausapin natin yung mga namamahala kasi yung witness na yan ay hindi credible. Pero pagdating kay Joel Villanueva, pagdating kay Jinggoy, pagdating kay Cheese, credible naman yung, well, wala si Cheese ata sa witness na yon, no? Pero doon sa dalawa, or at least kay Senator Joel yung witness na, yung particular witness na yon. So what happened is sometime March, I went to see two people. No, one is someone not in government, very close to the president, and the other one is very, very high official. Basically, ang sinabi ko, sumunod yung mga kasama ko, hindi naman inelect si Senator Loren. Kami, tatlo lang ang gusto namin. One, tutukan yung ekonomiya ng ating bansa kasi kahit na hindi inaamin ng Malacanang, no? Not exactly in these words, no? But basically, it took some time for Malacanang to admit that there's a crisis. And they didn't create the crisis. The crisis came from the US, Iran, and Israel conflict. No? But it took in denial for the first 2 weeks ang Malacanang. Samantalang every other government in ASEAN, around the world, in Asia, were already pinoporma na nila yung mga contingency plans. Diba? That's why nga, nag-file ako. Pero sinabi nila, Senator Tito, SP, huwag lagyan ng ilang days yung contingency plan ng Malacanang, and then afterwards, yung Protect Committee, ako at mga staff ko nag-draft doon para nga may pressure sa Malacanang na to deal with the economic. Okay, pangalawa, sinasabi na importante yung impeachment, and sabi na, hindi namin papangako boto namin. Kasi nga, we have to do it sa ebidensya. So, panay ang tanong sa amin, so you will allow na lumabas yung ebidensya? Sabi, of course, that's part of our job. Hindi namin job ay i-convict o kaya i-acquit na mag-a-act kami as prosecutors or as defense lawyers. Ang trabaho namin, mag-judge, no? And then, syempre, may magtatanong sa Blue Ribbon. Sabi namin, wala kaming specific target except yung katotohanan. Meaning, there has to be a way that the Blue Ribbon will not be used as a tool laban lang sa kalaban ng mga administrasyon, then mapagtakpan yung totoo. Of course, at that time, hindi ko pa alam yung main allegations regarding certain Malacanang personalities and going all the way to the top. Of course, marami ng yung Cabral files, yung by March ba, I think nandun na yung Marines, and then also yung Bersamin files. Basta marami yan, no? So, basically, ang message ko was, malabo namang makabuo kami, pero it's always possible. So, ang pinapaabot lang namin sa Malacanang ay hindi na po feasible yung Tito Soto, Risa Hontiveros, Kiko Pangilinan, Lacson, Group of 4, Gang of 4, na pagpapatakbo ng Senado because it wasn't productive anymore. Panay 2028 lang ang issue, tapos maraming pinagtatakpan, tapos hindi nakatutok sa pangangailangan ng tao. They didn't listen to me. So on May 11, we got the majority. Okay? Hindi namin alam na si Senator Soto mismo, si SB, nagpapasok ng mga NBI at mahigit na 20 ahente nakakalat na sa buong Senate. That's never happened before. They've always coordinated, stayed in one place, and then talked kung paano. Parang kay Senator Jinggoy, napakaayos. Actually, it would have been better kung pinayagan nila ako i-escort sa labas. But nakita nyo maayos. So yung May 11, in hindsight makikita nyo na po mga kababayan na May 11, set up nila yon. May 13, sila naglagay ng full battle gear ng mga NBI at mapapatunayan namin, Senate premises po yon. So, ang point ko po, sila yung nanggulo ng nanggulo, yung 11, kakampi ang Malacanang, kakampi po ang NBI, tapos pinapalabas, ako at kami ang magulo. Clear na yon, hindsight even yung walkout, nung sila nag-walkout, 12, wala daw quorum. Nung nagka-12 sila, meron na biglang quorum. Nung sinabi nila, gusto lang nila magtrabaho. Di ba? Nakita nyo naman po, hindi man lang nagbigay ng mga pangalan sila dun sa mga committee. So, paano nasasabihin gusto nilang magtrabaho? Tapos nakita nyo, nung sinabi nila si Senator Wing ay acting Senate President, unang issuance, work from home. Nung pumasok pa rin ang mga taga-Senado, ang sinabi, alas 10, umuwi na kayo. Hindi ba katawa-tawa yun? Di ba yung sasabihin sa'yo, work, let's get back to work. Tapos yung unang i-issue is to work from home, then the next day, umuwi na kayo. 10 o'clock pa lang pinapauwi na. Kaya nga sabi ko, mag-ingat si Senator Win. Kasi maganda naman future niya. Huwag ka magpagamit sa Malacanang at dun sa mga kasamaan mo. Kahit binibigyan ka ng high position. I'll give you the advice that someone I really respect gave me, which is, receive, don't grab. I didn't grab the Senate presidency in 2016. I didn't grab it in 2025. I didn't grab it in February 2022. But to God's grace, napunta sa akin. By the way, no, kung nakuha ko yon earlier, kasi di ba nagsama-sama Senator Coco, Senator Tito, Senator Frank Drilon, Senator Mig Subiri. Alam nyo kasi sinasabi nila masarap maging Senate President. Yun yung reading between the line Kasi usually tens of billions ang pwede mo ipasok sa budget. Usually yan, malaking mga discretionary funds ang pwede mo i-withdraw. Then of course, number 3 ka. So sa lahat ng mga ahensya ng gobyerno, basically you're a VIP there. Ang daming perks po ang pagiging Senate President, no? So when the 4 of them says na, Alan, bumitaw ka na lang, huwag kang umapit sa posisyon, no? First and foremost, nagulat ako na these personalities, especially Senator Drilon and Senator Coco, who were staunch anti-Marcos personalities, suddenly Marcos na rin, no? I'll go to that later, but what's my point? Sila na-enjoy nila lahat yan. Ako, the day na tinanggap ko at sinabi ko sa mga kasamahan ko, I'm up to the challenge. Kasi nung sinabi sa akin ni Senator Loren, ikaw na, Alan, kumilos na tayo. Nagtanong muna ako went to Senator Cheese and said na, ako ba dapat talaga pa? But the day na tinanggap ko, I knew I will not be an ordinary SP. This isn't the usual, di ba, na first among equals ka, na malaki pondo mo. I knew, laban to ng katotohanan. And I was told already na linggo-linggo, sisubukan kang alisin, laging araw-araw. And I knew na grabe ang gagawin nila. Pero hindi ko na-imagine talaga na I knew they were gonna throw at me the kitchen sink. But I didn't know that pati yung kitchen itatapon nila. We knew na bubuhayin yung kaso laban sa iba sa amin, pero hindi namin alam na ganun talaga yung pressure na gagamitin, no? But the reason I bring that up, I wanted to emphasize, hindi kami nagkulang sa trying to build bridges. So finally, nung naka-first base kami, kausap namin ilan high officials, and then hanggang umabot sa Malacanang, we communicated that you can trust us in me, in particular in the group, kasi nakausap ko na yung grupo, gagawin namin maayos ang impeachment. Hindi namin papangako boto namin, but we will commit na we will listen to the evidence, we will view, we will hold it together with the legislative. Nag-commit din kami doon sa economic. Sabi namin, pagdating sa Blue Ribbon, aayusin natin yung mga paroroonan. Sabi nila, history repeats itself. So nung sinabing never again, nagulat tayo, bakit again? But I think all of us, not only those who voted for the Marcos Duterte team, but even those who didn't, were praying and hoping maging successful dahil ang success ng administrasyon na to ay success natin lahat. Ano naging problema? Slowly and clearly, a pattern of corruption was shown. And then, nung sinabi ng Pangulo, mahiya naman kayo, lumabas po dito yung pinakamalaking corruption scam sa Pilipinas, involving trillions of pesos, including stolen money of at least hundreds of millions of pesos. By the way, si Senator Joel was one of those who first warned about it. So, kung sasabihin nila, paano naging Pangulo yon dahil he warned about it. Well, winarn ng Pangulo, that was I think SONA ng 2025, but si Joel has been warning since 2023. To be fair, panahon pa ni Duterte, sinasabi niya na bantayan yung flood control sa Bulacan. So, what is the state of the nation? Remember when President Marcos Sr. was elected, he was very, very popular. No? I think he still is one of the greatest orators of the Philippines, and he knew our culture, alam niya yung damdamin ng Pilipino eh. At alam niya nung mga panahon na yon, when communism was sweeping the world, when there was the Cold War, then it was sweeping Southeast Asia. And you know, if you look at Southeast Asia, it looked like a region na sigurado ang gera. With the conflict with Malaysia over, hindi pa yung South China Sea noon, yung Sabah pa. And then, iba-iba ang religion at iba-iba ang form of government, no, ng Thailand, Singapore, and Malaysia had a problem. Thailand had a problem with its neighbors, di ba? Kaya kung hindi nga nagkaroon ng ASEAN, maaaring naging war-torn ang ASEAN countries. But my point is, nagamit yung fear of communism, and then because from number 2 in the world sa ekonomiya, we were number 2, number 1 ang Japan sa region natin sa Asia, number 2 ang Pilipinas, then suddenly number 2, number 3 tayo sa bottom, di ba, after by the time na mag-EDSA revolution na. But the point is, ginamit yung economic crisis, ginamit yung class war, di ba, yung oligarchs, yung control ng oligarchy sa Kongreso at sa ating ekonomiya, at yung komunista. So it was such a big fear that many accepted martial law, di ba? And that's how we lost our democracy. So by the time na we regained it in 1986, Aquino had to give his life, and then there was a need of the people to march on EDSA in the EDSA revolution. So fast forward, EDSA 1, EDSA 2, EDSA 3, iba-ibang stories, but we continued to fight corruption, and there were different kinds of abuses. But what's happening now? Basically, what's happening now is for the fear that magkaroon ulit ng Duterte administration, kampi na lang tayo lahat sa Malacanang. Diba? That's why sabi ko, meron tayong Marcos pa rin. These are the loyalists from the start. And of course, the Dutertes and Marcos ran together in 2022. But you've always had those who continue the legacy of President Cory Aquino and one of our country's heroes, Senator Benigno Aquino. Yung, whether you call them Dilaw, whether you call them yung halo-halo, yung laban, PDP laban, all these political parties, Dilaw tapos naging pink because nga nagkaroon ng mga issues during the Duterte time, no? Pero nagulat nga ako na gumising tayo isang araw, dalawa yung kampo. Kampo ng Duterte at yung Marcos pa rin na nagsama na yung Marcos na rin. And nagulat ako because even the extreme left, even some of the extreme right, yung mga fascista at saka yung ibang mga katulad ni Senator Lacson na more rightist ang ideology, and then yung leftist ang ideology, yung dalawang paksyon na nagkasundo eh. Mas mabuti yung mas extreme or yung affirmist kasi kahit papano nagkriticize din, but yung grupo nila Risa, Ontiveros, nila Ronald Llamas, talagang puring-puri na sa Marcos administration, no? So naging Marcos na rin. So nagulat din ako, people like Senator Drilon, people like Senator Coco. Because Senator Coco may tampo sa mga Duterte. never mind na lumalabas Marcos na rin, ang importante to prevent another Duterte administration. And I don't blame those who think that extrajudicial killing is a essential part of any Duterte administration. I don't take that against you. Yun yung paniniwala nyo. Iba paniniwala namin, iba tingin namin sa drug war, iba tingin nyo. But my point is this. In the same way that oligarchs, communism, and the economic crisis was used to lose our democracy, malayo na malapit na yung panahon na we're losing our democracy because of an economic crisis which is here, because of fear of another Duterte administration, and then because of the flood control na sobrang daming tatamaan sa ating lipunan. So, the moment of truth is coming, and I use it literally, the moment of truth. Ang issue ngayon, katotohanan. Democracy is also an issue, but the issue is truth. Do you want a Senate that will cover up the truth? So, pinipilit ni Senator Erwin
Alright, yan po, narinig natin ang statement posted by Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano yesterday po, no, during the Independence Day celebration natin. Sa palagay ninyo po, what do you think? May puntos ba si Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano or not? What ang mga Filipino wants is the truth. The truth po. Totoo ba? Totoo ba, the way you look at it, ang sitwasyon ngayon dyan po sa Senado? Is it true that may control or ang Malacanang, under the leadership of President Ferdinand Bongo Marcos Jr. or BBM, he wants to have a control dyan po sa Senado? Palagay ninyo po. And the way, how we look at the situation now po, we have block ni Cayetano and block ni Sherwin Gatchalian. Of course, nandyan na po sila Tito Sen. No? Now, these are identified with the or supporters or supporting ang BBM administration. So, totoo ba? How do you look at it? Na gusto nila, ang BBM, gusto nila to have a control dyan po sa Senado. Dahil ba dyan sa impeachment of Vice President Inday Sara Duterte? Or dahil ba dyan po sa yung mga cover-up dyan sa flood control projects, which karamihan ng mga Filipinos, if not all, we want to know the truth, what really happened, sino-sino talaga ang mga involved dyan po sa flood control project scandal. Diyan po ang importante. Huwag natin kalimutan yung flood control project scandal dahil trillions of pesos po nawala sa atin. Taxpayers' money yan po. And what do we get? Now, pagdating ang natural calamities like earthquake, like typhoon, super typhoons po. Remember, ngayon we are already inside the wet season. Sana lang po, we will not have or we will not experience super typhoons po. Because if that will happen, mas lalo na po, it will remind mga Filipinos yung flood control project scandal. Diba? Ganon yan po. That is the situation. Pagdating naman sa flood control project scandal, we want to know kung sino, what happened? What is happening now? Nasaan na? Nasaan na ang mga updates ng mga investigasyon or mga steps taken by the Marcos administration, no? Ang gobyerno natin po, tungkol sa ito si Saldico, no? Tungkol sa mga pangalan mentioned during the Blue Ribbon Committee investigation or hearing chaired by Senator Ping Lacson, itong Independent Commission for Infrastructure. What happened po? What happened kay former Speaker Martin Romualdez? Nasaan na yung mga tao? They did not investigate. Bakit they did not investigate ang mga tao mentioned in this scandal? Kaya ang sabihin natin, ang allegedly lang, ang participation of State Cabinet or cabinet secretaries of Bongbong Marcos, sina Bersamin, no? Ang mga undersecretaries, assistant secretaries, ang mga politicians, be it senators or congressmen. What happened? Why is it that you don't want to bring in ang 18 Marine soldiers who claim that they played a crucial role sa deliveries of money dyan po sa mga, allegedly again, sa mga congressmen, sa mga politicians, sa mga senators natin, sa government na top officials, as well as the private sector, especially ang sector ng engineer, mga engineers natin, or contractors, mga contractors. So, bakit ganon ang sitwasyon ngayon? So, karamihan mga Filipinos, correct me if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong, karamihan ng mga Filipinos now, they are looking at, they believe na itong problema ngayon sa Senado has something to do with the government trying to control ang Senado by having ang mga senators who are aligned with the government. Unfortunately, itong si Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, I really identified talaga sa kanya po that he wants to stop corruption. And he wants that the executive branch will not interfere sa operation ng Senado. Which is also, which is very good po. Nandyan yan po sa Constitution natin. Nandyan yan po sa Constitution natin. Hindi dapat mag-interfere. But all allegations lang ito, hindi ba? Si BBM repeatedly say that he has nothing to do with the leadership dyan po sa Senado. He repeatedly mentioned that he has nothing to do with the problem or crisis of leadership dyan po sa Senado. Okay? So, palagay ninyo, what do you think? What do you think po? Hindi talaga masyado dyan po sa impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte because the impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte, given na yan po. No? Given na yon. Given na yon. 16 votes ang kailangan to convict Inday Sara Duterte. And based on the 24 senators mayroon tayo dito, regardless whether si Jingo Estrada is now facing court cases, and si Senator Bato de la Rosa is still nowhere to be found. But they are still included in the 24 elected senators. So once we talk about the 24 senators, elected senators po, it means the majority is 13. So yun po ang problema natin. Yan po ang problema natin. Sa palagay ninyo, I will leave it sa inyong lahat po. So, talking about, gusto ba talaga si Inday Sara Duterte o Vice President Inday Sara Duterte to take over ang posisyon ni sabihin natin Bongbong Marcos or BBM? Nandito po. Let's watch and listen to this statement made by, brief lang ito, made by Inday Sara Duterte po. Hold on. Sandali. Nandito. Let's watch and listen to this. Alright?
Hindi ko din gusto yun. Hindi ko gusto agawin yung posisyon ni Bongbong Marcos. Gusto ko makita ng taong bayan hanggang sa dulo kung gaano ka walang hiya si BBM. Hindi ko din gusto yun. Hindi ko gusto agawin yung posisyon ni Bongbong Marcos. Gusto ko makita ng taong bayan hanggang sa dulo kung gaano ka walang hiya si BBM.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin ang statement made by Inday Sara Duterte yesterday po when she was interviewed by the local media dyan po sa Davao City. Kumusta kayo mga kaibigan, kapatid at kababayan ko po sa Davao, belated Independence Day sa inyong lahat po. No? So, okay. Yan po ang latest updates natin tungkol sa sitwasyon dyan po sa Pilipinas. Let me share with you another video clip po. Inday Sara was talking about ang sitwasyon natin sa Pilipinas. And this is a replay lang, no? Replay a video clip ito ni Inday Sara Duterte. Let's watch and listen to this. Nandito po. Let's watch and listen to this.
Mga kababayan, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Madayaw, mayong adlaw kaninyong tanan. Magandang araw sa inyo lahat. Ang mga natutunghayan natin ngayon ay dapat ikabahala ng bawat Pilipinong naniniwala sa demokrasya, anuman ang kanilang paniniwala o kulay sa politika. Nakikita natin kung paano ginagamit ang mga institusyon ng gobyerno at ang pera ng taong bayan laban sa anumang oposisyon. Sa halip na tutukan ang mga tunay na suliraning kinakaharap ng ating mga kababayan, ginagamit ang kapangyarihan upang patahimikin ang mga boses ng mga hindi sumasang-ayon. A democracy cannot survive when those in power see every critic as an enemy and every opposing voice as a threat. I have always believed that the independence of our institutions must be protected. This includes not only the Senate and the House of Representatives as institutions, but every senator and member of the House must be free to perform his or her constitutional duty according to conscience, free from threats, pressure, or any form of intimidation. Good governance does not require the elimination of opposition. Democracy works best when there is a healthy opposition that is free to question. A government that fears dissent is not demonstrating strength. It is revealing insecurity. And that insecurity is reflected in the direction our country is taking today. The current state of our nation reveals three disturbing realities. First, the effort to divert attention from legitimate questions surrounding the flood control controversy. Second, the willingness to disregard constitutional safeguards in pursuit of a politically motivated impeachment. And third, the relentless pursuit of greater political power under the guise of charter change. These are the symptoms of a government that has become more preoccupied with protecting power than serving the people. The Filipino people deserve a government focused on solving problems, not silencing critics, on strengthening institutions, not bending them to political ends, and on serving the nation, not perpetuating power. Democracy is not weakened by dissent. Democracy is weakened when those in power become afraid of it. Shukran.
Alright, yun po, narinig natin si Vice President Inday Sara Duterte. Of course, I suppose karamihan ng mga Filipinos po agree that ang three branches ng gobyerno natin, that is the executive, legislative, and judiciary branch, should be operated independently po, no? Equal bodies yun sila, and there should not be somebody who will come in and control any one of these branches. So what do you think? Ang sitwasyon natin sa Pilipinas, bahala na kayo po, you look at it, and if you believe na kailangan maglaban tayo sa rights natin, mga Filipinos po, because Filipinos are not for nothing. We deserve a better government po, no? A better government. So, I will leave it to you. In the meantime, I will just leave it to you po. Kayo na mag-decide. And what I'm trying to do is just to share with you anong mga updates meron tayo dyan sa Pilipinas. And you can get it dito po sa programa natin, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico. In the meantime, once again, si Nico Fabian would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Hidup Malaysia, sa Mabole, mabuhay ang Pilipinas. I'll see you in my next episode. You take care and enjoy your weekend. Bye! I love you and ingat lang tayo.